But since men cannot grasp this ultimate truth by themselves, it is perhaps best that they adopt the empirical method and experiment on God's word, knowing that they may at least touch what is real, and thereby have a genuine awareness of its existence. Alma 32. But to do so they must first turn to the reality which lies deep within themselves. This is the secret of the perennial philosophy, or the metaphysic that recognizes a divine reality substantial to the world of things and lives and minds. Huxley, a reality with which we are directly connected, and which we can experience intuitively. Indeed, this is a secret which is common to most of the world's great religions, and I have therefore come to believe that all will eventually be led to the light. D&C 137-8, though each one presently refracts it through the prism of his own understanding. Thus every believer sees truth through a personal set of spectacles, and feels uncomfortable when he attempts to employ the lenses of another. Yet whoever strives can be saved, as the angels observe in Goethe's Faust, whereas he who is complacent is already damned. In this sense, I find that I have become a universalist, for the religious instinct was placed in each of us at birth, and all who do not suppress it have a link with the heavens that will lead them to their goal, if they persist in their honest searching. This explains why primitive religions are often closer to the truth than our modern philosophies, for they were created from direct encounters with that numinous reality, which is like electricity in a bare wire, and whose existence cannot be denied when it is touched. This is why I am so interested in ancient faiths, whose shattering experiences were expressed with a poetic intensity that galvanized the soul. This also explains my fondness for the religions of the Middle Ages, when God's presence was made palpable through the beauty of music and liturgy, as well as through the rich metaphors of ecclesiastical art. Indeed, irrational worship via the sensual and the emotional brings one closer to life's electricity than a rational worship based on dogma and instruction, for instruction merely dissects and analyzes, while the emotions are evidence of the life that innovates them. This is what Paul meant when he defined faith as the substance, hypostasis, and evidence, elegtos, of the unseen. Hebrews 11:1. For the unseen is the electric presence that shocks us when it is touched, making itself apparent as faith. Uneducated people who have no instruction at all may therefore have meaningful faith in the real by simply experiencing it, for the one who has touched reality has personally verified its existence. The perennial philosophy thus teaches that the clearest evidence of the divine is the miracle of sentience, through which one both feels and knows the wonder of sheer being. Indeed, whether it is perceived as a burning of the bosom, or the ecstasy of love, the evidence of the senses is direct experience of life's mystery, for there is nothing more magic than an awareness of our everyday activities. Thus the Chinese poet, Pang, exclaimed, "How wondrously supernatural! And how miraculous this? Water, I carry fuel." This is also the message of Zen Buddhism, which more than any other discipline epitomizes the truth that life itself is divine, and that one whose eyes have been sufficiently opened can encounter the divine in the commonest of things, even though they are constantly shifting and ephemeral. Thus when a man is ignorant he believes that mountains are mountains, and that lakes are lakes. When he is educated, he realizes that mountains are illusions, and that lakes are figments of his imagination. But when he is truly enlightened, he realizes again that mountains are mountains, and lakes are lakes, for he has learned that pure experience is the ultimate to which he can attain, and that the final reality which he can experience is the magic of perception, whether it be an illusion or something he deems to be material. This insight caused another poet to ask in a reflective moment, "What is it, the Buddhist reality in this quiet garden, with its trees and grasses?" His enlightened answer was, "Big leaves are big, and small leaves are small. The rain being over, the green moss is fresh." For he understood that the things in which we so firmly believe are the miraculous perceptions out of which we weave reality, and that the phenomena themselves are what remain after speculation fails. This irreducible remainder is our sentient awareness, or the joy which comes from the world of the senses, for without the senses the pure mirror of the soul would remain blank and featureless. Here, then, is the real meaning of the statement, Adam fell that men might be, and men are. That they might have joy, for without earthly phenomena, there would be no physical perception and no happiness. I therefore believe that the quintessential core of the perennial philosophy can be found amongst the existential realities of Zen and haiku poetry, which dispense with preaching and focus on pure experience, for this is all that existence can ever offer, either in this world or in the next. Nor is haiku limited to a particular religion, for haiku ignores theology and finds satisfaction in the naked fact that we are, and that we must find happiness in savoring that existence. Lonely autumn, a sigh, are. The sound of a far-off temple bell, Bushu suddenly thinking of it, I went out and was sweeping the garden, a spring evening. Taigi, such images are the jewels of sentience, and they explain why Aristotle wrote that poetry is of greater importance than history, for history and theology see only empty shapes, dangles forever before our eyes, but which recedes as fast as it is approached. I therefore long to return to those simple moments of awareness, which created my personal mythology, and when I feel closest to my inner reality, a reality that sees a home instead of a house, or a beloved instead of a Perseus. For it is in these moments of heightened awareness that place which intuition we enter the far-off land affirms to be indestructible, and where all things have a permanent basis. During those mystical moments one knows that true happiness comes neither from money nor from fame, but from the things of the earth, subjectively experienced, like the smell of rain on hot summer dust, or the warm breezes that announce the coming of spring. This is when we see most deeply into ourselves, and realize that eternity consists not of external achievement, but of those threads of internal awareness that make up the tapestry of sentience, and which contribute to that fabric of beauty which is the mind of God. Thus enlightenment leads back to the simplicity of faith, just as the Buddhist returns to his subjective mountains and lakes, for they are now authenticated by personal experience, and can no longer be denied. Even the place to search for God is within ourselves, John 14:10, Phil. 2:13, for he asks that we use his power to serve one another, rather than rely on external miracles to rescue us from duty. God may even refuse to grant his conspicuous assistance, hoping that we will instead incorporate his power into our own lives. Unearthed Truths, Ancient Texts Validating Latter-day Saints' Christian Origins, a scholarly rebuttal to critics of Mormon doctrine that Mormonism is a genuine restoration of primitive Christianity. https://a.co/d/fpo2ed